Link building has long been considered an SEO tactic largely based on patience. Link building strategies require that short-term sacrifices be made for the greater good. Permanent ROI, which could take months to have a noticeable effect. But why is that the case? And how can you make sure you're not being led down the garden path? Keep watching this video and I'll explain all. If you know the value of effective SEO and effective link building and the kind of work that's involved, this is probably not something, it's not a question that you ask out loud often, and it could be any number of reasons you may think is a silly question to ask. You may think you're going to offend somebody, or maybe even that you're just not getting a straight answer. So I can sympathize with the fact that you're a business owner and you'll have had this thought at some point, and it is a question that needs to be answered. The approach most people do take with this is they'll come up with a price they'll pay per link, then try to get as many links as they can from the SEO agency or freelancer, and then they'll hope that they can generate considerably more sales than they bought the links for, and then think if they do that, they'll be on to a winner. The problem is though, knowing exactly what kind of revenue link building is going to get you is not something you can really know before you've even started building proper links, and I mean white hat links, for a long time, and you've started tracking sales over a period of time. And even if you've done that, you have to consider then that every link is different and unique. It's not a straightforward fixed price commodity for a reason. One link can generate more revenue than the previous 10 that you've built for any number of reasons. You have to consider the quality of the link, how much relevant traffic will it drive, what effect will the link have on rankings, which will then bring organic search traffic into play, if it will improve the rankings at all, and could it even have the opposite effect? Could you be building links which have a negative impact on your SEO and in fact put you backwards? So there's a number of factors to consider really. Just simply the impact of a link, the link juice effect, how does the authority of the link affect your rankings, the SEO impact of that link on nearby pages, can you accurately measure that? The direct referral traffic, the quality of the content, this can affect the conversion rate as well on page, spam signals, which links will cause a reduction in your SEO or traffic, the quality of the content obviously. This is a key point you want to bear in mind, and it happens between getting the traffic and making sales. How well are you converting the traffic? Now my expertise is not in conversion rate optimization, but this is definitely something you can't skip over if you want to best capitalize on the traffic. So is there enough engaging content on the site which suits your ideal audience? That's why you're never going to reach a stage where you have enough content. You have to keep on creating good quality content in order to get people to continue to engage with the site. Headlines and CTAs above the fold. Perhaps you're using too much industry jargon in your content. You might want to simplify your content for your audience. Do you stand out from your competitors? Whether that's by making it more personal, telling your story, or just updating your About Us page to seem a bit more human. Do you need to raise your prices? Maybe that's the issue. Have you tried split testing headlines? Have you incorporated trust symbols, like whether it's membership associations or some kind of accreditation badge? Keeping load time as fast as possible. Obviously, people want to be on a site which is loading as quickly as possible. You don't want it to be overloaded with, whether it's Flash or large images or whatever it is. You get the idea. It's a never-ending process and you're never really going to reach your full potential on conversion. I mean, myself, I'm always testing my own site, and what works for one person might not work for you, but it's just something that you have to consider will affect your sales and your conversion rate. This may sound a bit strange, but link building isn't always just about building links. That isn't all there is to it, and there's so many other intangibles to consider even aside from link building, which is why a lot of link builders or agencies will not charge per link. Because, I mean, honestly, a lot of emails that go out during outreach will either get ignored or they refuse to link. They're not all going to want to link, but when you attempt to build links at this scale, you're basically building a large number of relationships, and not every relationship will form straight away. It may come back later down the line, but even if you don't secure a link, you could get any other number of benefits. For instance, getting featured on print or on some kind of white paper, getting a lucrative spot on the next email that goes out or some kind of subscription only newsletter. You might get offered to be a vendor or an affiliate of some sort. They may share your content on social media instead. Could even become a real world business connection. I've seen this, and other networking opportunities, some other kind of business opportunity may open up. These are things that have all happened to my own previous clients that I've worked with, and it would have been hard to package up intangible things like this. I wasn't just producing a list of links, I was providing a service, and that's just one of the things to consider when you're building links. It's not just about the links. What I want to drive home is you can't really track the effect that a single link is going to have on your revenue unless you want to spend the next year calculating it and driving yourself mad. The point is it relies very heavily on knowing just how high quality the link is, but also on a number of other factors. What you're better off doing is calculating your average customer lifetime value and knowing your own business numbers. And the key thing is to be willing to invest in the process. So here's an example of a client that I worked on past. So you can see from November, he was getting around 3,500 uniques a month. And then obviously fast forward 3 to 4 months, because this takes time to have effect. However, he was then hitting almost 8,000 in the month of March. So obviously if you knew if this client had their numbers down, they would then obviously see that while they did have to invest in a link building service, this paid off and only continued to compound as more links were being built. And you can see from here, this also had an effect on their rankings as well. So that helped with regards to driving more traffic. So what we learned from this is there isn't really a quick fix. Link building is unfortunately a medium to long-term process, and because of this, you need to look at this as an investment rather than just a short-term campaign. It can take time for your links to have a full effect, but as you develop more and more great content, you'll further your chances of getting the best links. And with time, the results are going to compound. The traffic will start to increase, probably almost in a non-linear trend. It will start to skyrocket after you've started content, you've started building a lot of links. So the best thing you can do as a business owner is to calculate your average customer lifetime value and knowing your own business numbers, as in how many of your customers and inquiries turn into a sale, how many of them are recurring, the percentage that will get you referral, these kind of things. And I've created a spreadsheet which I think should make the process a bit easier for you. For instance, in this tab, you can just plug in the numbers that are highlighted in yellow. I have different ones for ROI, advanced, if you have an appointment system, this kind of thing. But we'll stick with this one for now. So in here, just plug in the value with the numbers your business generates, and it'll calculate the rest for you. It'll give you a good estimate of how it would look if you had a certain percentage increase. So for example, if your traffic went up by 200%, as long as it's relevant traffic and relevant links, you should then experience a 200% increase in the number of customers and sales. Don't get me wrong, I know you can't simplify a business and project future earnings into a simple spreadsheet and plug it in to justify a service, but I think it's a useful tool, and at the very least can give you a good guesstimate onto the kind of results you can see with a long-term and effective marketing strategy. So thanks for taking the time out to watch this video. If you want to continue watching them and want me to keep making more of these, please subscribe to my YouTube channel.